Hey, howdy. I'll be right back. I got this. Man, makes me crazy. But listen, the hammer isn't always the answer to all your smoke detector problems. Hang on, we're going to cover that. You can put the hammer down and fix your smoke detector issues like a smart person. Hey there. Hey, howdy. How you doing? Smoke detectors, they suck, but they keep you alive. I was just looking, which I recommend you do too. Go to Consumer Product Safety Commission. But look, it says here more than 2,200 people die each year because of unintentional home fires. Almost two-thirds of these fires, the deaths, occur in homes with no smoke alarms or smoke alarms that don't work. So the theme here today, as we go through, we're going to have some really good hands-on tips, and that is replacing your smoke detectors. Here's why I'm saying that. I'm in homes all the time. Old homes, we're doing remodels, and I'll ask the homeowner, hey, how's your smoke detector? Almost without exception, I don't know. And so I usually go up there and I pull it off. You can look at the manufacturing date, 10, 15, 20 years old, easy. A lot of times you pull them down, they're dead, there's no light, or I'll pull them off the ceiling and they're not connected as far as the hardwired versions. So I really want to talk to you about replace the smoke detector. Leave the hammer alone. You don't have to hammer, broom, whatever your smoke detector hunting and killing implement of choice is, just replace them. Almost everything now you can get this hardwired will have a 10-year warranty lifespan. You can do the longer life batteries and not have to mess with these things to have them wake you up. I don't know why they chirp. It's always at 2 in the morning and you hear that chirping. It just puts me on edge. But we're going to cover some of that stuff. But I think that's really the thing I want to roll back to is that they're not expensive, but they are a really key life safety issue. And they're worth looking into at least once a year. And right now we're at the beginning of the year, and it's worth going through and spending a few minutes at your house and see, like, do you have smoke detectors? Where are they? How old are they? Were they chirping? Did you just take them down? So now you're endangering your family because you'll do it later and you remember, well, that was 4 months ago. Got some good, solid recommendations here for you for not only the smokes, but for the placement. Seen crazy stuff on placement, and where you put these things really matters. We'll have some specific manufacturer information, some great pictures of this is where you put them and this is where you don't. Again, so far I have learned a boatload. I know, some of you are cringing. It's okay. If you read, you will learn things. And even going through these instructions, and I've been installing electrical stuff for 30 years. Now, come here a little closer. This may be one of the first few times I've ever read the instructions to a smoke detector. Because darn it, I'm a master electrician. And guess what? I found out I've been doing some things wrong just because I managed to read the instructions. You should read too. Read them. Okay? So boil it down, because I read several sets of instructions. They're kind of all the same. Two things I learned, and we're going to cover this hands-on. There's certain places you don't put smokes. It doesn't work. And I didn't know this. You guys know this, I'm sure. The upper corners around the ceiling, within 4 inches on the ceiling or 4 inches in the wall, that's dead space. What they're saying is air doesn't move in those corners, so neither does smoke. I've seen smoke detectors mashed up into the ceiling in there. It's not going to help. The second thing is batteries. Look at the instructions or whatever on your particular smoke detector. I've loved the idea of putting in 9-volt lithiums because they're 10 years. I don't have to hear a chirp for a while. Well, I'm here to tell you when you read the instructions. This one by Kidde, it's a battery. It says, do not use lithium batteries in any of these models. I had another one, it might have been BRK, that said you can, but it's this specific model. Kidde FireX, which is the hardwired version, only recommended for specific models of just alkaline batteries, which the longest life you're going to get out of those 5 years. So read the instructions. It's a life safety device. It isn't just a choice like colors or towels or socks. It's life safety. Don't be a CPSC statistic. So key recommendations from what I've used and installed for the actual smoke detectors: FireX Kidde, BRK, and then First Alert, which kind of includes BRK. And there's others out there. I just haven't used them. Most of these three, you'll be able to get both hardwired and battery only if you want to do that based off the application. But again, here's the big reminder: regardless of what you get, if you don't install it in the best spot or a good spot, you may be just shooting yourself in the foot, right? So get a good smoke detector. You can look at reviews, those kinds of things, just like everything else you buy. But I would say don't go cheap. Don't go anything old or used. Some of you, that's a thing. Don't even pretend like you're offended. I know you. Anyway, don't do it. And then look at where you're going to put them. Okay. If you have the option to hardwire them with the 9-volt battery backup, I would do that. I trust hardwired with the battery backup so much more. But I know sometimes, either because maybe it's not your place you're living in, you're renting, or you're staying temporary, or the access is just not worth it. You're going to end up having to cut drywall or go through a horrible attic, and you're saying, look, I'm just going to use a battery powered one. And that works, because at the end of the day, that's still safer than nothing. So now let's go talk about some hands-on, some practical application for how we're going to place these. So here we are, we're in the hallway ceiling. This is a combination. It's a Kidde smoke and carbon monoxide. And the reason I did the combo here and hardwired this during our remodel was that 4 inches on the other side of this wall, this is the furnace cabinet, which is, of course, a gas source and potentially carbon monoxide. A couple of things where we're doing practicalities is, and this is actually a wrong location according to several, because it's within 12 inches of the ceiling. But this gap right here, again, this 4-inch corner, they're saying is dead space for airflow. So this should be technically down about 2 inches. The other thing I'd recommend is, if you can, hardwire. Okay, when you're remodeling, or if you're already kind of tearing up drywall, hardwire these. If it's a new build, you'll want to interconnect these. So let me pull this off. Let me see if we can get it to turn and not break it. That sounded odd. So this is hardwired. You'll notice this is not interconnected. It's a standalone smoke. And let's unplug this. Okay. So if you look here, see, let's turn this so we can read. Again, we're talking about specific battery replacements. This is pretty specific what they say here. And again, none of those are lithium batteries. The downside is what's in here, because I was being super smart without reading, is a lithium battery. We'll have to address that later. These don't draw much power, and usually we would run a 3-conductor if we were interconnecting and we had hardwired throughout the house. You would have a red wire coming out that would be spliced onto this so that when one detector went off, they would all go off. The other thing I wanted to show you was a date. So I put July 2nd. It looks like that's not helpful. I want to say that's, I don't know, Paul. I think that's 21, 22. Anyways, this has a 10-year warranty. If you're not sure, I would definitely use this, or take a Sharpie and write the date here on the back. Okay. The problem we have with almost everybody, like in this house was built in the early 70s. All it ever really had was a hardwired smoke detector, which wasn't this one,
just one in the hallway, and that was it. And until you got into the mid-90s, most jurisdictions didn't require anything else. And then they started requiring smokes in the sleeping spaces and not just in the connecting hallways. So let's put this back together. All right. Let's do this. What am I doing? Here we go. I just noticed for those of you, the OCD people out there, I'm going to leave the print upside down. You're going to have to live with that. All right. So measuring tape while we're here, almost all these as far as instructions and your local fire marshal, if you look around, there's no register, but you want this to be, in addition to being clear out of this 4-inch dead space, at least 3 feet from any vent, okay, because they don't want blowing the dust and everything else to clog up the photoelectric chamber. And I'm looking, and we're clear on this. So let's go into the adjacent bedroom where we have a battery-powered smoke detector, because I did not want to crawl in the attic to wire it. And the local jurisdiction during the remodel allowed us to put in a UL-approved battery smoke detector. And that's where we're going next. Here's a battery-powered smoke that I added. This is I think this is called a one-source. It's I hate to say it's the cheapy smoke detector at Home Depot. It's probably $5. It only has a 3-year warranty. At some point, I'll go through and replace these. The attic here is horrific, nasty. So the batteries, especially with the lithium, sound good to me. But that's what's up here. Again, read your instructions as far as where to place this. We're out of this corner as far as being too tight. It's a flat ceiling, so we're not worried about going higher. And then here, we have a register, and we want to be at least 3 feet away. So let's take a look. And I'm at 43 inches, so we're over 3 feet. So that's good. So in a lot of houses we've remodeled and I've seen this battery put like here at 6 feet. And the reason people put it there is because it's just easy to get to. The problem, again, if you get it down too low, and the idea of you have smoke building up in the room, the smoke, if it's filling top down, that's maybe just longer time before that smoke detector starts making noise to wake you up or to warn you. So again, they're saying if you're going to wall mount it up within 12 inches, but not closer than 4, and the same if we ceiling mount it, it can't be closer than 4 inches because, again, the corner is dead space as far as airflow. So from here, the other thing I wanted to talk about was mounting this on a vaulted ceiling. And we happen to have one close by, so we'll take a look at that next. So the other thing is most common is you'll end up having to put a smoke or a combination in a room that has a vaulted ceiling next to a sleep space. So we have this room, it has a shallow vault, but read your instructions on the smoke detector. A lot of the jurisdictions I've worked in want that smoke detector within 12 inches of the highest space, okay? A lot of you will have cove ceilings where you have the outside of the ceilings 8 feet, and then there's a step up to a tray or a tray ceiling. And so the instructions on some of these will say within 3 feet of the ceiling, again, and out of the 4-inch depth zone in the corner. But again, because of convenience, I've seen people just do a smoke detector on the wall, 6-7 feet, because it's easy. But then you've got several feet of open space for, again, smoke to collect. Okay? And then the other thing, a lot of people end up putting the smoke detector someplace where they can't see it, because smoke detectors they're ugly. So, but again, it's a life safety device. Put it somewhere where it works, and sometimes you have to be creative. But read the instructions. Leave your hammers home, because now you've got something to do. Get your smoke detectors replaced. Okay? If you look at the warranty on most of them, they're only 5 years. Some are 10 years. So if you've lived in a house a while and you look up and it looks like a flat pancake with a single light in it, and it's got some grooves in it, because that's a classic. I think that was a Firex from the 80s on to the mid-90s. It's old. Just replace it. Or if you're in our area, call ABR Electric, change it out, get it tested, and live without any nonsense for another 10 years. Click like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.